Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Surprise Thursday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Dungeons & Dragons animated Hank. This figure's a long time coming, my friends. Let's get into it! Let's start things off with a look at the packaging. And here we have on the top 40, because we've been waiting 40 years for these animated Dungeons & Dragons figures. Dungeons & Dragons, and then the roller coaster at the fair or whatever, where they went through the portal. And then nice artwork of Hank. And then right here, instead of a nice bubble, we have plastic-free packaging with what is probably a digital render of Hank. It says Hank right here. Comes with a die. On this side, it says, serving as the leader and eldest of the group is Hank. The ranger uses a bow and arrow as his weapon, defeating dragons and enemies on the group's quests. And there it is in some other languages also. You can scan this. Parents, scan it! PlayDND.com. Warning! Don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. Plastic-free packaging. Hasbro 4-and-up. Assortment number. On the bottom, warning! Don't stick things in any language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to the babies. On this side, some more nice artwork of Hank. And then here on the back side, we have Dungeons & Dragons Hank. He comes with all this stuff. Nice digital render of the figure. And figure to scale, so it's this big. And the cross sale, Bobby and Diana, which round out wave 1. Attention! Don't stick things in your French pie hole. Each figure sold separately. And there it is in all some other language. Small fine legalese print made in Vietnam print. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, made in Vietnam with dice made in China. So it has made in Vietnam and made in China. Print, barcode, whatever that is. Throw stuff away. No, recycle it. And then plastic free packaging. Symbols I'm not going to learn. Recycled. And Hasbro print. And that, my friends, is a look at the packaging that doesn't want to stand up. And so it's going to fall. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And first up, here we have his die. And again, it's got that same nice coloration as the rest of the line does. They all do. So, very nice. I thought it's a cool touch that it comes with the die. And here is his bow when it is not energized, ready to fire. And here is the bow in full energy mode, even like this part that shouldn't be, but anyway, this is a waste of accessory, but we'll get to that in a minute. And here's the figure falling down because he doesn't like to stand up. But let's take a look at him anyway. And I have to say, maybe from the profile it looks like the animation, but for the most part, and I think it's really just translating it from 2D to 3D. I don't think this is it doesn't really look like Hank from the animation to me. Again, it's been a long time since I've really seen the animation. So that could just be me remembering incorrectly, but I don't think so. It just really doesn't. I mean, it looks enough like him that you know it's Hank, but that's mostly because of what he's wearing and his uniform. Kind of like the old Kenner Star Wars figures, you know, Luke, Han. You knew who they were, not because they looked like the characters, but mostly because what they were wearing. You could tell that's who it was. Now, I mean, you know, Luke had the blonde hair, Han had the brown hair, and you know, anyway, that's the best comparison I can come up with, I guess, is to how this relates visually to the 2D animation. And I'm probably just talking out of my head right now, because I don't know. And so anyway, the face, you know, his teeth are showing a little bit, nice eyes, nice eyebrows, and you know, the hair looks like it's probably a separate piece glued on. This piece here is an overlay with the hood is down, and it's got nice little paint apps all over it, and the paint apps are on the lower overlay as well as the actual torso, which, you know, that's not overlay right there. Got some nice paint apps right here, I believe, a nice silver for the belt buckle, and I believe the belt itself is a paint app as well. As far as his articulation goes, because of his hair, he can't really look up. He can look down that far. He's got some chicken neck. He's got a little bit of waggle. He can do the full exorcist. And I can't really tell what neck articulation he has, if he's like the rest of the line, and I don't think he is. I think he's all ball joint at the bottom of the neck, and maybe dumbbell at the top of the neck, so that gives him a little bit better chicken neck and some waggle, but most of that's down here. At the shoulder, this overlay piece, it is split right here, so it does allow, and this is as far as the movement or the hinge allows at the shoulder, so approximately a 90-degree hinge or bend there, and 360 degrees at the shoulder, but this does really get in the way. Big mistake, Hasbro. Single hinge and swivel for the elbow. Swivels around 360 degrees and approximately 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, 360 degree rotation at the wrist on an up and down hinge, and the other one is up and down as well. Ball joint at the waist allows for 360 degrees of rotation. He's got all kinds of hula. He can lean left and right, back that far, crunch forward that far. At the hips, this overlay is cut on either side, so this is actually as far as the legs will bend, so he will give you that much of the splits. He will kick forward, not quite 90 degrees, back maybe about 2.5, 3 steps. Then does he have nothing in the thigh? Double hinged pinless knee, and it still only gives you that much bend. At the top of the shin, a boot cut for another 360 degree rotation. Ankle tilts down that far, up that far, and he does have forward facing pin for rocker. Now he does have, you know, grips the bow with this hand and then he pulls it with this hand, but unfortunately, my friends, it does not work very well. The range of motion on this figure's arms just don't cut it, and I don't know what in the world possessed Hasbro to release this figure where he can't even fire his bow. Look, does that look like he's shooting a bow? No. It's really awful. So, and I know there's some things people have done to kind of fix that, to give him a little bit more range of motion here in his arms, but unless I can come across an extra one really, really cheap, I'm not really going to do that. So he can hold the other bow in his hand, and that looks okay. And then again, like I said, he does not like to stand up, but there, I got it. Well, that, my friends, does it for a look at the figure and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have the entire line of Dungeons & Dragons classics with Dungeon Master, Bobby the Barbarian, Uni the Unicorn, Diana the Acrobat, Sheila the Thief, Hank the Ranger, Eric the Cavalier, and Presto the Magician, with their main villain, Venger. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Dungeons & Dragons classics, Hank the Ranger, with, from the Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee, from the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander, from Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison, from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Dungeons & Dragons classics, Hank, I have to say, in a disappointing line, this is probably the most disappointing figure in that line. He can't even draw his bow correctly because of the articulation scheme that they put on these figures. And mainly it's with his arms. And I know, double hinged elbows might have looked weird on this figure, but no bicep swivel, just a hinge and swivel at the elbow. I can't fathom why they would do this to a figure whose whole thing in the show is shooting arrows. That's like making a Hawkeye or a Green Arrow figure that doesn't even come with a bow. In my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary. You may love this line. I do not love this line. I do not love this figure. I don't even like this figure. And, the entire line has issues from likenesses to the characters. And, that particular issue just could be translating it from 2D to 3D. I don't know. I don't think there was not, I know there was not 100% effort put into this entire line. This line was created to prey upon our nostalgia for figures that we've been waiting 40 years for because there was a movie coming out. And because of that, we don't have to put 100% into this. We're only going to put like 30% in. And to me, that's the way it feels. And, if that's hurtful to the people who designed these figures, good. I don't intentionally set out excuse me. I don't intentionally set out to hurt people's feelings or disparage their work or anything like that, because I know that's you know, it's not a good thing to deal with that kind of stuff. It's, you know, it can be hard on the soul till you toughen up a little bit. But being professionals, you guys should be, you know, toughened up enough that excuse me, that, you know, my saying these things isn't hurting your feelings or going to cause you to go off and do things. But it's really, that's the way I feel on it. And again, your mileage may vary, but that's my opinion. And this line is not, it's barely adequate, if that. It's given us physical representations of characters that we have waited 40 years to get. Again, it's not a good line. The entire line. This figure is probably the worst of the line. You know, when a pack-in like Uni, to me, feels like a better figure than an actual figure in the line. That's just bad. It's bad planning. It's bad designing. It's, you know, doing exactly what it did, was just relying on our nostalgia to get the sales on these very lackluster figures. And I'm glad I can say I didn't pay full price for any of it. And I'm glad that I finally have physical representations of these characters. Yes and no. Yes, in the fact that, you know, it finally happened. But no, in the fact that it's really bad. And, you know, there's people, oh, well, you know, Super 7's doing it, they'll do a better job, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, but that's $55 a pop. And, you know, I've heard there are some issues with their quality control. And I'm just not willing to gamble $55 on a figure that might be up to snuff and more than likely won't be. That being said, the sculpts I've seen of the Super 7 stuff, I think is much better. And, you know, I like the look of it, but again, it's not at that price. It's not in my wheelhouse, especially not really knowing whether or not they're going to flesh the line out enough to get all of the main characters out. But there it is, folks. The most lackluster figure in a lackluster line. And it, you know, these figures just, they make me sad that they could have been so much better. And just weren't, because the company didn't want to put the effort in. They didn't want to put the money into it. And that, you know, it may be that that's not the case. That's just the way that it feels to me. And I just, this line makes me sad. So I'm going to stop talking about it. That does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process of making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count. And I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. If you're interested in supporting my channel further, I'm now offering memberships at various tiers. Click the join button on my YouTube page, or check this video's description for the link and see if any membership offers are right for you, but only if you are in a position to do so. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you would like to see more content or just help the channel grow, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.